November 19 is not just another date on the calendar. For most, it passes quietly, unnoticed. But for you, it is a signal. It is a moment that carries meaning, a day that calls to the part of you that has been waiting, that has been yearning for recognition of something deeper within. If you are reading this, if this message has found you on November 19, it is no accident. You are part of a small fraction of people who are awake enough, aware enough, ready enough to receive what the universe is offering. 1%. That is not a number to scoff at. It is a number that represents the exceptional, the rare, the few who have begun to align with their own higher path. It is a number that whispers a truth many will never hear. You were chosen not by chance, but because you are prepared in ways most have not yet discovered about themselves. On November 19, the ordinary world carries on in its blind rhythm. People rush, they consume, they distract themselves from what truly matters. They move in patterns of habit, caught in the repetition of yesterday's fears and tomorrow's anxieties, never realizing that the present, this very day, is offering them a doorway. And yet, here you are. You have paused. You have noticed. That pause, that recognition is your first step toward awakening. To be among the 1% is to see that every day, every moment has potential. But November 19 is special because it marks the moment when attention meets destiny. It is a signal that you are ready to see the truth of your own life. The fact that this message has reached you is a reflection of your inner readiness. Many will receive messages, advice, teachings, even opportunities, but they are like seeds scattered on barren ground. The majority will not take root, they will pass by without understanding. You, on November 19, have been given the seed, and your consciousness is fertile. You are prepared to nurture it. This is a call to stop underestimating the power of recognition. To see a message, to pause and feel its weight, is to engage in a quiet act of awakening. It is to acknowledge that you exist for a purpose greater than the small, repetitive comforts of daily life. You were not made to drift. You were made to recognize, to act, to grow. November 19 should remind you that the extraordinary is often hidden in the ordinary. Most people will look at the date and see nothing. You, however, see opportunity. You see a reflection of your own potential. You see a signal that the universe has nudged you toward a moment of choice. Do not ignore it. This day is a mirror. It asks you, are you awake? Are you paying attention to the flow of life within and around you? Are you willing to rise to the 1% of people who take what they are given and transform it into something meaningful? The recognition of being chosen is not a trophy. It is a responsibility. It is the responsibility to honor the moment, to honor yourself, to act in alignment with the truth that has quietly spoken to you today. To be chosen is not about luck. It is about preparation. It is about inner discipline. It is about having cultivated a depth of awareness that the majority do not possess. November 19 becomes your marker, your signpost that you are in a position to step forward. The world does not owe you acknowledgement. You have earned it by the quiet, unseen work of your own growth. You have cultivated patience, reflection, self-discipline, and understanding. You have seen the patterns of your life and begun to correct the ones that hold you back. That is why November 19 can find you ready, while so many others remain blind to their own potential. Being among the 1% is not easy. It is not glamorous. It is not celebrated by the crowds, but it is meaningful. It is a recognition that the path you walk is different because you are different. You carry within you a sense of awareness, a willingness to see what others refuse to notice, and a readiness to act upon it. November 19 becomes a reminder that the world is watching not with eyes, but with reflection. It is reminding you that moments like these, when you recognize the subtle signals, are the moments that define a life of growth. You must take this recognition seriously. November 19 is your opportunity to honor the path that has brought you here and the work that is waiting for you ahead. It is the day to commit quietly but with intensity to being the person who does not drift, who does not follow the crowd, who does not wait for validation. You are ready. You have been prepared. You are the 1%. This is not a claim. It is a call to action. Use this day as the point from which you align fully with your purpose. Transform your awareness into action, your potential into reality, your recognition into growth. November 19 is the day you will remember as the beginning of seeing yourself in the light of what is possible. This is the day that confirms what you already know deep within. You are capable, you are awake, and you are ready to rise. The message is simple, yet profound. If you have received this, you are among the rare few, the 1%. Honor it, own it. Let it ignite your path toward the highest version of yourself. It is not about luck. It is about recognition, awareness, and the courage to act. November 19 is your call. Take it. November 19 is not just a day. It is a mirror reflecting what has been held inside you for far too long. On this day, you are invited to face the weight of the past, the regrets, the failures, the moments that have lingered like shadows over your life. Most people carry these weights silently, allowing them to shape decisions, reactions, and even dreams. They move through life burdened, repeating patterns without knowing why, unable to see that every thought, every emotion, every attachment has the power to either bind or liberate them. November 19 is the day to recognize that holding onto these weights does not protect you. It limits you. It prevents you from stepping fully into the version of yourself that is waiting to emerge. When November 19 arrives, it offers a chance for profound release. It calls you to let go, not in theory, but in practice. To truly grow, you must recognize the weight you have carried and confront it without fear. Regret from yesterday cannot help you today. Fear of what may come cannot stop you from moving forward. If you hold these things tightly, you are allowing life to pass you by while remaining trapped in your own past. This day is a reminder that liberation begins within. It begins with acknowledgement, with honesty, with courage. November 19 is not a day for excuses. It is a day for clarity. You have to understand that growth is not about adding more to yourself. It is about removing what no longer serves you. The past is a collection of experiences, some beautiful, some painful, but all teaching. Yet, if you clutch the painful memories as if they define you, they will obscure your vision, your strength, your potential. November 19 asks you to release these attachments. It is a day to examine the things you hold onto, the anger, the guilt, the shame, and ask yourself if they are yours to carry or if they are merely illusions that have disguised themselves as truth. The moment you see clearly, you begin to breathe freely. The moment you release, you begin to live fully. On November 19, notice the simplicity of this truth. Life does not punish. Life teaches. The burdens you feel are not meant to crush you. They are meant to guide you toward understanding yourself. By letting go, you do not erase what has happened. You honor it by learning from it and stepping beyond it. Each regret, each mistake, each disappointment is a teacher, but only if you are willing to acknowledge it and then release it. To hold on is to remain small. To let go is to grow beyond what you thought was possible. November 19 gives you permission, even insistence, to step into this freedom. Many fear release because they believe that letting go means forgetting or surrendering. But the truth is different. Release is strength. Release is clarity. Release is alignment with your higher self. On November 19, understand that the greatest obstacle is not the world outside, but the world you carry inside. The chains you feel are often self-made, formed from old beliefs, old patterns, old wounds that you have mistaken for reality. Today, the 1% recognize this. They see that freedom is not something granted by others. It is cultivated within. And November 19 is a marker, a signal, a reminder that the path to growth is through the courage to release what binds you. Think about the moments you have spent holding on to regret, replaying scenarios that cannot change, wishing for outcomes that never came. Each thought, each hesitation, each memory weighs you down. November 19 asks you to stop this. It asks you to shift your energy from clinging to the past toward embracing the present. It asks you to see that the only moment that truly matters is now, the moment in which you can act, choose, and grow. The past has shaped you, yes, but it does not define you. You define yourself through the choices you make today. On this day, understand the power of cleansing your inner world. Release does not happen in grand gestures. It happens in quiet decisions, repeated daily. It happens in the way you forgive yourself for past mistakes, in the way you choose not to carry resentment, in the way you accept what cannot be changed. November 19 is a reminder that these small acts of release are the building blocks of transformation. They are the steps that take you from being burdened by life to being aligned with your own potential. This day is dramatic in its simplicity. It is a chance to unburden, to purify, to prepare. November 19 is not for hesitation or doubt. It is for action, for clarity, for letting go. When you embrace this, you step into a new level of self-growth. You step into the 1% who do not merely survive life, but transform it from within. Your past becomes a foundation, not a cage. Your regrets become lessons, not anchors. Your fears become guides, not barriers. And when November 19 passes, you carry forward a lighter heart, a clearer mind, a stronger spirit, and the readiness to meet life fully, without compromise. The teaching is simple yet profound. Release is not weakness. Release is not surrender. Release is power, clarity, and growth. November 19 is your reminder, your signal, your day to claim this truth. Today, you can let go. Today, you can rise. Today, you can step into the version of yourself that the world has been waiting to see, free from the past, open to the future, and fully alive in the present. November 19 is not a day to be rushed through. It is a day to be fully present, to feel every moment, to see what most people overlook while they move through life on autopilot. The world is filled with distractions, noise, and constant motion. Yet this day asks you to pause and witness the depths of your own consciousness. To live without awareness is to live in shadows, repeating patterns without understanding, reacting to events instead of shaping them. On November 19, the 1% see clearly. Life is not something to be survived. It is something to be experienced consciously, intentionally, fully awake. Most people drift through their days, their minds consumed by past regrets or future anxieties. They forget that the present is the only place where true growth occurs. November 19 is a reminder that every breath, every thought, every choice matters. To ignore this day is to ignore an opportunity to align with your own life, to take control of your path, and to step into the clarity that comes from conscious living. The present is not trivial. The present is powerful. The present is where change is possible. To be aware is to be alive. To be conscious is to see life in its raw, unfiltered truth. On November 19, notice the subtle patterns that shape your behavior. Observe the automatic reactions that control your mood, your choices, your energy. These reactions are not you. They are the echoes of habit, the shadows of conditioning, the residue of past experiences. Awareness is the key to breaking free from them. It is the key to choosing responses rather than reacting impulsively. It is the key to stepping into the 1% who moves through life with clarity, purpose, and intent. November 19 asks you to look inward and recognize the power of your attention. What you focus on becomes your reality. Most people scatter their attention across endless distractions, losing themselves in the noise of external life. But if you bring your focus inward, if you observe your mind, your emotions, your impulses without judgment, you begin to understand the source of your strength. You begin to understand the patterns that either support or hinder your growth. November 19 becomes a day of reflection, a day of awareness, a day where you can reclaim control over your life by first claiming control over your mind. Being present is not easy. It requires discipline, honesty, and courage. It requires the willingness to face the parts of yourself that are uncomfortable, that resist observation, that hide in the shadows. On November 19, you are invited to confront these parts. You are invited to see clearly the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that have held you back. Awareness is not a gentle gift. It is a mirror that shows both the light and the shadow. The 1% embrace this mirror, not as a tool for judgment, but as a path toward liberation. The moment you face yourself fully, you step into power. November 19 is also a day to recognize the illusion of busyness. Most people mistake movement for progress, activity for growth, but true growth comes from conscious action, not mindless repetition. When you act with awareness, when you move with intention, every gesture, every decision, every word becomes meaningful. November 19 asks you to stop reacting to life and start engaging with it. It asks you to act not out of habit, but out of clarity. To live with presence is to take responsibility for your energy, your choices, and your impact on the world. Observe the patterns of thought that pull you backward. Observe the emotions that cloud your vision. Observe the routines that numb your spirit. November 19 is a checkpoint, a reminder that awareness is the foundation of all growth. Without awareness, you are like a ship adrift at sea, carried by currents you cannot control. With awareness, you become the captain, steering your life with precision, choosing direction with clarity, responding to circumstances with wisdom. The 1% understand this deeply. Attention shapes destiny. Consciousness shapes reality. Presence shapes life. On November 19, make the commitment to live deliberately. Notice the way you breathe. Notice the way your mind wanders. Notice the way your heart responds to the world. Each observation is a step toward self-mastery, a step toward becoming the person you are capable of being. The present moment is not a trivial gift. It is the stage on which your life unfolds. To ignore it is to surrender your power. To embrace it is to rise. This day is dramatic in its simplicity. It asks nothing but your full attention. It asks you to be awake. November 19 is your reminder that life is not waiting for you to catch up. Life is happening now, and only those who are present, only those who are aware, only those who engage fully will experience the depth, the clarity, the power that this day can offer. The 1% do not drift. They do not live in shadows. They live in consciousness, in clarity, in alignment with their highest potential. November 19 is your call. Receive it fully and step into the growth that comes from being awake, aware, and fully alive. November 19 is not a day to be experienced in isolation. It is a day that reminds you of your connection to the world around you. A day that calls you to step beyond your own desires and comfort and to recognize the power of contributing something greater than yourself. Most people live as if life is only about their own comfort, their own ambitions, their own satisfaction. They forget that true growth is measured not by what you gain, but by what you give. November 19 is a mirror reflecting this truth. If you pay attention, it will show you that your gifts, your talents, your presence are meant to be shared, to serve, to uplift. The 1% understand this. They know that life is not complete when it is inward focused alone. On November 19, notice the subtle way the world calls for your engagement. Your abilities are not accidental. Your mind, your heart, your skills have been cultivated for a purpose beyond mere existence. The day itself is a signal, a marker that reminds you that life is about more than survival. It is about influence, contribution, and alignment with a higher path. Too many people spend years developing talent, energy, and insight without ever connecting it to a purpose greater than themselves. November 19 interrupts that pattern. It is a day that asks you, what will you do with what you have? Will you use it to lift others? Or will you let it fade, unused, hidden, unexpressed? The 1% do not wait for recognition. They do not ask permission to make an impact. On November 19, you are reminded that the true measure of your growth is how you use your energy to serve, not how the world applauds your efforts. Contribution is not about fame or acknowledgement. It is about alignment with something bigger than the self. It is about channeling your abilities into a force that elevates life around you. Today, November 19, is your opportunity to consider how your presence, your actions, and your talents can resonate beyond your own needs. Too often, people mistake self-interest for self-growth. They believe that success is personal accumulation, but November 19 teaches otherwise. Growth comes from impact. Growth comes from service. Growth comes from seeing yourself as a part of a larger whole and acting in accordance with that truth. Your skills, your knowledge, your energy, your voice, they are all instruments. November 19 is the day to tune them to a higher frequency, to align them with contribution, to amplify them in ways that extend beyond you. The 1% are aware of this power. They see the opportunity to transform not only their own lives, but the lives of others. When November 19 arrives, it calls for introspection. It asks you to examine the ways you have held back. How have you hoarded your gifts? How have you limited your impact because of fear, pride, or doubt? This day is dramatic because it offers no excuses. It asks you to step fully into responsibility. It asks you to transform the latent potential within you into action that matters. To give, to serve, to contribute is not optional for those who are awake. It is the natural expression of the 1% who recognize their place in the flow of life. Service and contribution are not acts of self-sacrifice alone. They are acts of self-realization. On November 19, consider this. Every time you use your talent to uplift, to guide, to share, you grow. Your energy expands, your mind sharpens, your heart opens. The 1% understand that giving is not losing. Giving is amplifying. Every small act of contribution carries weight beyond what is immediately visible. November 19 is a reminder that even in the smallest gestures, the power to influence, to inspire, and to elevate is present. The day asks you to act, to move, to connect, and to create value beyond yourself. Do not wait for the perfect moment. November 19 itself is perfect because it exists now. Today is the moment to recognize the gifts you have and to use them intentionally. Too many people defer action, believing that conditions must be ideal, that recognition must arrive, or that the world must demand it. But the truth is that life does not pause for hesitation. November 19 is your call to step forward. It is your opportunity to transform awareness into action, intention into contribution, and potential into reality. The 1% do not delay. They understand that the alignment of their gifts with a higher purpose is immediate, urgent, and transformative. On November 19, see clearly that growth without contribution is incomplete. The measure of your life is not in what you collect, but in what you extend, in the lives you touch, in the energy you release into the world. The 1% recognize that greatness is not found in isolation. It is found in the flow between self and world, between intention and impact, between recognition and action. This day is your reminder to take your talents seriously, to act boldly, to serve without hesitation, and to step fully into the role you are capable of fulfilling. November 19 is not just a date, it is a stage, it is an invitation, it is a dramatic signal that the world is ready for your presence, your contribution, your action. Use this day to align with purpose. Use this day to lift, to guide, to serve. Use this day to become the person who does not merely exist, but who transforms, who amplifies, who grows by giving. Contribution is not optional. Growth is not optional. November 19 reminds you of both. Step into it fully, with clarity, courage, and commitment, and watch the transformation unfold, not just within you, but through the lives you touch. November 19 is not a day for spectacle or empty gestures. It is a day for discipline, for consistency, for quiet, unseen work that shapes who you truly are. Most people believe growth happens in sudden bursts, in moments of inspiration, in grand declarations. They wait for motivation to strike, for a sign, for conditions to be perfect. But November 19 reminds you that the true path of the 1% is different. It is built not on occasional effort, but on steady, disciplined action. It is the small steps taken daily, with focus and intention, that create transformation. This day is a mirror showing the power of persistence, the force of repetition, and the strength of commitment. On November 19, notice how the world celebrates only the visible triumphs. People see the achievement, the recognition, the result, and they do not see the countless hours of preparation, the silent discipline, the sacrifices made along the way. The 1% understand that the work done behind the scenes is more important than any external acknowledgement. Discipline is not glamorous, it is not dramatic, but it is the foundation of mastery. November 19 is a day to honor this truth, to recognize that what you do consistently, even when unnoticed, defines the trajectory of your life far more than sporadic effort. Consistency is the bridge between potential and reality. You may have talent, insight, or opportunity, but without regular, focused effort, it remains dormant. November 19 asks you to examine your habits, to look at the routines that shape your days. Are you moving toward growth in small, deliberate steps, or are you relying on bursts of motivation that fade as quickly as they arrive? The 1% do not wait for feeling inspired. They understand that the practice of discipline itself creates inspiration. The act of showing up, of doing the work, of committing day after day builds momentum that no sudden spark can replace. November 19 is dramatic because it asks for attention to the unnoticed, It calls you to recognize the value of repetition, the importance of ritual, the necessity of structure in your life. Every action taken consistently compounds over time. Every small effort matters. Every decision to show up, to focus, to act with intention transforms the invisible into the visible. The 1% know that success is not an event. It is the accumulation of choices, repeated with discipline, repeated without complaint, repeated even when the world seems indifferent. The day also teaches patience. Growth is rarely instantaneous. It cannot be forced or rushed. November 19 reminds you that the results you desire are born from steady cultivation. To act consistently is to trust the process, to honor the invisible forces of effort and time, to understand that mastery is built quietly, moment by moment, habit by habit. Those who seek shortcuts, those who wait for sudden breakthroughs, will be left behind. The 1% understand that patience combined with discipline is unstoppable. November 19 is a signal to embrace this rhythm. Notice how small actions accumulate. A single choice, repeated daily, becomes a habit. A habit, maintained over time, becomes character. Character, expressed through consistent action, shapes destiny. November 19 is a reminder of this progression. It is dramatic because it asks you to respect the ordinary. The ordinary actions of today are the extraordinary results of tomorrow. Do not underestimate the power of small, disciplined effort. Every deliberate step taken on November 19, no matter how quiet or unseen, moves you closer to the person you are capable of becoming. Consistency is also a test of courage. It is easy to act when life is smooth, when motivation is high, when results are immediate. But November 19 asks you to act even when it is hard, when progress is invisible, when doubt creeps in. The 1% do not rely on external validation. They rely on their commitment to themselves. They understand that courage is not a grand gesture, but the willingness to keep moving forward day after day, even when the outcome is uncertain. November 19 amplifies this truth, making it clear that growth requires steadfastness, even when no one is watching. The discipline of daily action also cultivates integrity. It teaches you to honor your word, your intentions, and your own potential. November 19 calls you to align your habits with your highest self. It is not enough to desire growth. Desire must be expressed in consistent action. The 1% know that integrity is built in the repetition of right action, the persistence of focus, and the refusal to abandon progress for fleeting distractions. Each small decision to act, each moment of focus, each choice to persevere compounds into strength, resilience, and clarity. On November 19, see clearly that the dramatic moments of life are built on the quiet, consistent work that precedes them. Growth is not the result of occasional brilliance, but of disciplined persistence. The 1% understand that life rewards those who show up consistently, who honor their commitment to themselves, who cultivate excellence through repeated action. This day is your signal to step into that rhythm, to embrace patience, to honor effort, and to recognize that the path to mastery is walked one deliberate step at a time. November 19 is your reminder that discipline and consistency are not burdens. They are the gateway to freedom. Each act of focus, each small effort repeated, each moment of courage in the face of indifference builds the foundation for a life of growth, purpose, and fulfillment. The 1% know this deeply. The quiet work of today shapes the extraordinary results of tomorrow. This day calls you to commit, to act, to persevere, and to embrace the transformative power of steady, disciplined effort. November 19 is your marker, your invitation, your opportunity to rise through the mastery of consistency and the courage of daily action.